What's going on, guys, and welcome back to a brand new video. This is Web Dev Journey, and today we're going to be focusing on I just started up the server. Anyways, we're going to be focusing on storing a user in React.js, or in our front end application, right? So we already have stored it in the back end, but how can we store it in the front end without calling the back end every single time for a user, which is pretty bad user experience, right? So that's what we're going to be focusing on in this video. Now, before we get started, guys, I do want to say, hey, what's going on? I hope you're having a great day. I don't know. I'm actually working more now. I think I already stated this, but the thing is, I'm not going to be making videos as frequently as I used to, like probably once every day. That's what you guys are used to. So what I'm trying to do is trying to make longer videos, up to an hour, probably like 40, 50, close to an hour, put it that way. 20 minutes difference. 20 minutes give or take, right? 40 or an hour. Anyways, I'm trying to make longer videos so that way you guys could actually, have more to look at. I typically try to keep it under 20 or 22. You know what I'm talking about. Sometimes I go over to 30, but what do you guys think? Should I make longer videos? Or do you want me to just keep on making like 20-minute videos? Let me know in the comments down below, because honestly, this is just for you guys. So if you want me to make longer videos, it's just I know that for longer videos, people tend to like not pay attention for that long. Humans have such a short span, attention span. So I know that for a fact. So I'm trying to make that as, I'm not gonna say entertaining, because I'm not entertaining. I'm just giving you knowledge, knowledge. I don't know what's wrong with me, man. All right. Anyway, just let me know down in the comments, all right? All right. I ranted up too much. All right. So to store users, so let's actually focus on our server side first of all. Okay. So let's go to server. Now we do need a route for our user to actually grab a user. So inside routes, we're going to create a new folder. We're going to call this user. And inside user, we're going to create a new file, index.js. And I'm actually going to grab this because it's the exact same thing. We don't need Google, but we do need this. And we're going to do .get. We're just going to grab the /rec res next. And what we want to do is literally just return. Did I do something wrong? Oh, right there. Return res.json, and we want to return user, and we know where user actually lives. It lives in rec.user. Control save that. Now we just need to hook that user inside of our main index. So in here, right there, the user, and right here, we're going to say the user. All right. We could actually get rid of this. We might use that some other time. One more thing I want to do is in auth google.js, instead of when we get our callback, I don't want to just send out JSON. What I want to do is res.redirect, and we want to redirect to the home page. So http://localhost 3000. That is it. And make sure you spell everything right. All right. So those are the two differences that we just made. We just made a user route and just redirected once they actually get authenticated by Google, right? We just redirected back to 3000. Now, since we are using different ports, so 3000 and 8080, we do need to use cores. So what we need to do is go in here, cd server, npm i cores, and let's go to app.js and use it right. I'm gonna use it right below this one. So const cores, it's going to equal require where's that cores right there. Damn it, dude. God. All right, there it is. Cores. All right, and now all we need to do is app dot use course. All right. Now with course, you do need to do a little bit more configuration. The reason why is because we're using cookies. So, and I'm just letting you know this ahead of time. I'm not going to do it right now because I want you to see what's going to happen if we don't have these configurations already with course. But let's just leave it like that because this is how most people actually use course and don't really pass in anything with course. But since we are using cookies, we do need to pass some stuff, but we're going to be talking about that later. All right, now that we have course, our user route, and redirected our Google authentication to our front end, let's actually focus on the client. Oh, by the way, I did create a styles sheet. This is the way I like to do things, right? So we have our base, our components, and then the styles, and we just incorporated, where is it at? Index. Right here, index.css, which is where it should have been styles, but whatever. Anyway, this is how I should just change it. Styles. Right there. Control save. No. My God. Okay, let me see. I should have done this beforehand, but you know how that is. Styles. Styles. There it is. There it is. There it is. All right. Why do we have this still? Get rid of this. We don't need that no more. Yes, delete it. And inside of styles, we have this one. This is where we get. Okay. All right, cool. I'm just letting you know that we do have styles. If you want to use CSS, SCSS, then you could use it. If you want to use something else, then obviously you might want to delete that and use something else. All right, cool. Now in our front end, what we want to do is actually use a hook inside of routes, and that's going to be useEffect. Now, if you don't know what useEffect is, it's basically, think about it as component did mount, update, component did update, you know, that kind of stuff. Just think about useEffect as that. And we want to use that. So we're going to say use effect. And we do need to install course. So let's install course. CD client npm, not course, sorry, Axios, because we do need to grab some stuff from the back end. So I like to use Axios for that. You can use whatever you want. Import Axios from Axios. There it is. All right. So we're gonna use useEffect, and every time this this router mounts, basically any component inside that thing mounts, is going to keep on doing useEffect. Okay. So, all right, useEffect Axios.get, and we want to grab HTTP // local host 8080, and we want to grab the user, right? Because we want to make sure that this user is logged in. So we want to just make sure, or we want to have the details of this user, and like we provided a route for that, which is this route. So .then and then I'm going to say x, and we're going to just console.log x for right now. Control save this. Now let's look at it. Now let's look it up, right? Or actually, before we do that, let's go to login components or pages, login, and in here we're going to create a link, so that way we can log in, correct? So href http ://localhost 8080/auth/Google. Yes, and we're going to say log in with Google. All right, now we have a login button. Now we're actually grabbing our user. Okay. Now let's actually take a look at it. Something went wrong. Did I use the useEffect? Oh, sorry. Grab this. Don't know why I had it. It's supposed to be inside a function right here. All right. Now control save. Sorry about that. And there we go. And we should have an object, yes, with no data, obviously. The reason why is because we haven't logged in. So let's try to log in. Do we have? Well, let's try to log in. All right, let's log in with Google. Let's go to Web Dev Journey, and it should redirect us, which it does, to our homepage, which is cool. And you're gonna see that we still don't have any what's it called? A user. But we can see that, let me see, application. We do have a session ID. So we actually have a cookie with our session ID that contains our user. So why aren't we grabbing our user? Why can't we count to log that? Oh, the reason why is because with CORS, or it's because you just need to understand how this all works, right? CORS by default doesn't allow you to pass cookies by default. It doesn't allow you to pass cookies. So with CORS, you do need to set that up also in the front end as well. And let me show you what I'm talking about. So let's go to the server side. Server, app.js. All right, CORS. By default, they call it credentials. So credentials, passing an object. Credentials, we're going to set this to true. Basically, credentials is the cookies. Do we want the cookies to be that are sent in? Do we want to trust those cookies being sent in? And we're going to say, yes, we do. True. And we also want those cookies to be from the origin, only the origin. Or basically, when we're using CORS, we want the origin just to be, or HTTP, local. I forgot to do the 3000. All right. So we passed in some options, credentials, cookies. We want those to be true. And also the origin, we want it to be from localhost 3000. If we do receive cookies from an other origin, then it's going to be omitted. We're not going to care. We're not going to trust those, all right? We only trust them if the origin is HTTP localhost 3000, okay? Now, this alone is not going to give us our user back. You could check it right here, refresh the page. It's not going to give us our user back. The reason why is because our front end isn't really sending those cookies by default as well. So once we use axios.get, we want to say, hey, we want to pass in some options saying with credentials, meaning that we want to pass in those cookies. Yes, we want to pass on those cookies. And our backend trusts our cookies because our origin is from localhost 3000. Now, if we look at it, our front end, refresh the page one more time, you're going to see that, hey, look at that. We actually have a user, my email, my name, and ID. Now, before we let's just fix some things in our auth or user. Basically, we just want to pass name. We just want to pass in certain things. We don't want to pass in the whole thing, right? Name, we want that to be rec.user.name, right? And then we also want to pass in the user ID. Yeah. And that's going to come from rec.user._ID. Control save. All right. Now let's take a look at our front end. Refresh. And we should just have those data. There we go. Our name, web dev journey, and our user ID is that. Great. All right. Now that we have our user coming in, how do we actually store it in our front end application? We have it count and logging, but how do we store it? Well, thanks to the fancy hooks, we could actually use right here a use state, right? So const, we're going to say user, a set user, and we're going to set that equal to use state. And from right now, the initial value for user should be null because we're just assuming that we don't have a user just yet, right? So right here, we're actually going to grab user and set user, right? Or set user right there. And down here, instead of passing a string for our value for user context, we explained what this was in the last video. Instead of passing an actual string, what we want to pass in is user and set user. So in value, what we're going to be doing is setting up an object with user and set user, okay? Control save this now. Now, in our login page, instead of having a message, it's no longer a message, it's no longer a string. What it is an object with user and set user. But in login, we're never going, well, we might, if you do need to, you can, but we're going to just grab user. You can grab set user, but like I said, we might not set user in our login page. And then down here, I'm going to use pre-tags. I'm going to say JSON.stringify user null 2. All right. So we're actually grabbing our user. So let's actually look at this first of all. Right now it's null, obviously, but refresh the page. Do we even have user? We should have user. We have a user, so it's not. What? Why? Let me see. We're never really setting user. So instead of count to login, what we want to do is set user to x.data. Data is from Axios, and then inside data we have that our user. So x.data.user. Control save that. Now refresh the page. Let's try to log in one more time. Let's see if that works. What is happening? Why aren't we grabbing our user? Let me see. I'm gonna just say X. Maybe it's not X. I'm pretty sure it was, but maybe it's not. Oh, and the reason why this is happening is because useEffect doesn't have any dependencies. So we just need to pass in an empty array. If you don't do that, this is going to happen. Control save that so that way it doesn't do that all the time. Now let's look at it. Okay, we do have it. Look at that. So, oh, that's why x.user isn't in data. It's just x.data. Okay. So what we're going to do is set x.data. Control save. Now, look at that. We have our user displaying in our front end, which is great. It's awesome. We actually stored our user. Now let's do this for home and profile as well. So log in. I'm gonna just grab this. Copy. Let's go to home. Replace this, and then just grab user. Save, and then profile. We're gonna just grab user and display our. There we go. Now if you go to the front end, refresh the page just for good measure. If you go to home, it doesn't really matter where you're at. Look at that. We still have our user, which is pretty cool, right? And that's, I mean, there's obviously different ways of storing users in the front end. This is just the most common way that I know of actually storing users. Now let's actually set up a button to log out. So inside of login, I'm going to create another button, and we're going to say log out, and we want to say auth log out. So we need to create that route. So inside of our auth, our index, right above, we're going to say router dot get / log out, and don't forget to do your little, string rec res next, and Passport gives us a simple way to actually log out. All we have to do is say rec dot log out and log out like that, and that's pretty much it right there. And what we want to do now is, let me just return. We should say return right here. Return. Okay. Grab that. And over here, that's what we want to do. All right. Now we have our logout, so let's give it a go, shall we? Refresh the page. All right, we got login with Google and then log out right here. I'm going to click on log out and see what happens. And there we go. We get a, hey, we don't have a user, so we're going to set this to null, and it doesn't matter where you go. It's always going to be set to null. And let's try to log in one more time just to make, for good measure, web dev journey. And there we go. We actually grab our user. Check that out. Pretty cool, ain't it? Now you could do customizations. You could actually right here spit out, hey, welcome web dev journey, if there is a user, right? Let's do that real quick, in login. I'm going to say, if there is a user, we want to do I'm going to do H2. Welcome. I'm going to say user.name. Control save. and welcome web dev journey. If we log out, we don't get that welcome no more because we're logged out. But check that out. It actually works. Whew. There you go, guys. This is how you store a user in the front end. And that's it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something from it. Obviously, always do. I always hope you learn something from it. And please, guys, leave a comment down below on what you think about the video length. Like, how long do you want it to be? All right, because it all depends on you guys. So thank you guys for watching this video. I really do appreciate you spending your time watching my videos. It helps me out a lot. Also, if you do feel like supporting me, I do have a Patreon page, so please visit that. And like I said, if you feel like supporting me, you can support me there. But thank you guys so much for everything, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.